going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is episode 306, part number 2, for your Saturday, December 28th, 2019. This is legitimately the last episode, the last part of Off the Script for 2019. No more after this. We got one more Monday Night Raw. I'm sorry to let you guys know. One more Monday Night Raw before the end of the year. I'm pretty sure you don't give a shit about that, but this is the last episode of Off the Script this year, and I want to thank everybody for a very successful year. We're going to be hitting the new year in style. We're going to be sounding different. We're going to be feeling different going on into the first Off the Script of 2020, and I can't wait to unleash the things that are coming as far as this podcast is concerned in the new year, man. So thank you guys so very much, and again, I can't thank you all enough. Thank you all for allowing me to do this as my full-time gig. Without you guys, I don't have anything. But what I do have for you guys today is news. I got plenty of news, and we're going to be getting into that Royal Rumble feel. We're getting into that Royal Rumble mode because we all know WWE's not going to do that on their own. I got to get you excited about the Royal Rumble, and I got Royal Rumble news on this particular episode of Off the Script. Top feuds going into the new year, what the backstage news is as it pertains to Brock Lesnar, who he will defend the WWE Championship against. Will he defend the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble, or will it be a show where Brock Lesnar shows up, has no title defense in Houston at the Royal Rumble? Who are the early favorites to go one-on-one with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? I will tell you who it shouldn't be. And I will tell you again who it must be at WrestleMania. I got news on Monday Night Raw. I got news on SmackDown. I got news on NXT. I got news on Shayne. I got some news on her return. When is she coming back from that concussion suffered at the hands of Charlotte Flair at TLC? I got more news on Matt Hardy. And I have news on Fandango. Apparently he needs Tommy John surgery, which is a little bizarre. I didn't know he was pitching for the Florida Marlins, but we got Fandango needing Tommy John surgery. Update on his status, plus so much more right here on Off the Script. Again, thank you guys so very much for joining me. If you missed anything that I've uploaded on the channel so far this week, it's been a pretty light week due to the Christmas holiday, but Friday was not light at all, man. Almost 2 hours and 20 minutes of podcast right here on Off the Script as we documented the worst creative year in WWE history. I've been watching this product for over 30 years, and I've never seen one single year worse than 2019. We take you from January all the way to where we sit right now in December and ask the question, did WWE, did Vince McMahon give you what you want for 2019? The answer is no. The answer is no. And I go over, in almost an hour and a half, we go over how Vince McMahon gave you the middle finger and how they did everything opposite of giving you what you want. They avoided it like the fucking plague. And when we got what we wanted, Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, Kofi Kingston, it was all situations in which WWE was forced to give us what we want. They didn't want to give us anything genuinely from the goodness of their heart. They were forced to give us all of those situations that we seen at WrestleMania. So we go over that and the failure that was Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, how The Fiend doesn't feel special anymore. Shane McMahon reigning terror on SmackDown Live because everybody asked for that, right? Braun Strowman, the mid-card, how nothing feels special. The tag team division, irrelevant and non-existent. The women's division, going backwards Folks, we go over everything on that podcast Friday. Go and check it out. Links for Off the Script on Friday will be down in the description below of this very video. Monday Night Raw as well. Off the Script Elite as well on Tuesday. And just as of last night, SmackDown, the last SmackDown show on Fox. I wish forever, but it was for 2019. Baron Corbin, and then the Universal Championship title picture. Baron Corbin, Roman Reigns, and then the Universal Championship title picture. That was SmackDown Live in a nutshell. Plus, Braun Strowman showing you why he was the pussy among men and not the monster among men as advertised. Yes, because we asked. Man, WWE's going out there and fucking starting the celebration early. Yeah, we asked for a dancing fool in Braun Strowman to close out SmackDown in 2019, right? The hips don't lie, right? Give me a break, man. I can't even fathom the garbage that is WWE. That was the picture. That was the picture WWE painted. How do we look at 2019? All you need to look at is Braun Strowman shaking his fucking hips. His monster hips in the most cringe-like fashion. Yeah, we talk about it. We talk about the pussy among men on Friday Night SmackDown. Go and check that out. The review is linked down with everything else you need in the description below. Hit that subscribe button, man. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on that bell while you're at it and turn on all notifications. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. So thank you guys so very much for doing that. If you guys want to support me via Patreon, you guys can certainly do that as well. Shout outs to all the new patrons. You'll be linked down in the comment section below. Special thank you to all you guys who just signed up. That's patreon.com/JD from NY206. And today the podcast is brought to you by none other than Harry's. Harry's.com/script. You guys know the deal with Harry's. They've been a great sponsor and a great friend of the podcast. You guys can get your $13 value trial set today by using our unique link. That is harrys.com/script. With every year, there comes some sort of New Year's resolution. I don't know what your New Year's resolution's gonna be, but I can tell you what I want it to be. I want you guys to start looking better entering 2020. And you can't start by looking better without Harry's. Harrys.com/script. I've been sponsored by Harry's for a very long time on this podcast. They've been very good friends to me and the show. I've been using their product before they signed on to sponsor the show. And I've been using competitors in the past. I've used competitors where I've cut myself, where I didn't really get as close of a shave as I would have liked. Harry's eliminated all that. I love the glide of the blade. I love how sensitive my skin is. And even though my skin is sensitive, I've never cut myself using a Harry's blade ever. Where that was a common thing with all the other competitors that I've used before Harry's. And I love the low price. $2 per blade. Harry's focuses on what actually matters. Sharp, durable blades at a fair price. They are a return to the essential. Quality, durable blades at a fair price. Like I said, $2 per blade. They've cut out the middleman manufacturing blades in their German blade factory that's been honing precision for nearly a century. Which means you guys get incredibly high-quality blades at factory direct prices. Harry's is also super convenient. Blade refills are delivered directly to your door on your schedule with or without a subscription, and there's no risk for trying them out. If you don't love your shave, let them know, and they will give you guys a full refund. Listeners of the podcast can redeem their Harry's trial set by using our unique link, harrys.com/script. You guys are going to get a handle with a firm grip. Choice of color is up to you. 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and a trimmer blade. Rich lathering shave gel with aloe to keep your skin hydrated. And a travel blade cover to keep your razor dry and easy on the go. Guys, your New Year's resolution starts with Harry's. It starts with harrys.com/script. And I want to thank them for supporting Off the Script right here as we enter the new year for 2020. When you guys look up and down the WWE roster, and you look at who has been out of action for a very long, extended period of time, who comes to mind first? Could be Ruby Riott. I think Ruby Riott is awesome. I think Ruby Riott deserves a real, true opportunity to really go on into the women's division and make an impact. I really do believe that. Nia Jax, stay away. Stay away. Stay on Total Divas, if we can even call her a diva. Please. You are not coming back and making any difference or impact whatsoever. Could it be the Usos? The Usos, in my honest opinion, are needed. The Usos are needed. I think the WWE needs to focus on tag team wrestling, never mind the goddamn fucking Usos. But the Usos are needed. When the Usos were around, when they were at their peak in their transformation, remember when they came out all colorful and fucking fan-friendly, nauseating? I hated them. It took an attitude change to change my mind ultimately on the Usos. And they honestly were looked at as the best tag team in the world. It would be very hard to argue anybody who said, I think the Usos are the best tag team in the world. And you know what? If you told me that during that run, I would have not argued with you at all. They spoke, you listened. They took the microphone, they commanded your attention. And on top of that, the shit that they were doing with the New Day and anybody else that they stepped in the ring with was some of the best tag team wrestling in that time period. I think the Usos are needed. More so, I think the tag team division needs to be built around a team like the Usos to bring everybody up to that level. The Usos could be heading back to Monday Night Raw. Now, they're not going to be game changers because nothing, listen, you know, we could sit here and talk for hours about how Monday Night Raw needs this and they need to change that and they need to get rid of this and they need to do this better and that better. They're not going to be game changers. They're not going to move the needle. But adding a team like the Usos to any brand, period, is going to be a nice shot in the arm for whoever gets them. They could be on their way back to the WWE. Finally, WrestleVotes, the insider account on Twitter who has broken many different news stories over the past year. They are reporting that the WWE Creative Team has been told to come up with some ideas for the Usos for their return to Monday Night Raw. I got one better for you, WrestleVotes. Why don't you go back and tell your source to tell WWE Creative and then lead that to Vince McMahon in some way, shape, or form. Let's get plans for the tag team division. Never mind the fucking Usos. Okay? Because that's what I think we need. And I'm not the only one in that boat. I'm not the only one in that boat. I look at the tag team division in WWE and I look at something that needs major reconstruction. Major reconstruction. This tag team division right now is so god-awful and so non-existent that if you really take the time and effort and just carve out what you want as far as tag team wrestling on these shows with the teams that you got, you might find that WWE has one of the best tag team divisions in the world. And something that could really, if they put fucking effort into it, something that could rival AEW's tag team division. But they refuse to do so. Do you know how many times I looked into this camera and I gave you guys ideas on how to fix tag team wrestling? How many teams legitimately do we have on Monday Night Raw? I don't even know anymore. You got the team of Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. Who gives a shit? Legitimately, who looks at them when they're on TV and says, oh, this is a quality tag team? You know what? WWE had Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley as the hype bros. That was a way for Mojo in to the WWE because he was actually in something meaningful. Zack Ryder, he was dead. He was dead. And he found some revitalization teaming with Mojo Rawley. He was back in an important role. You took that away from him, you took that away from Mojo, and now where are they? Zack Ryder's back to being in a tag team. That means absolutely nothing on WWE TV. Mojo Rawley, he went from fucking painting his face with lines on it, looking in a fucking mirror, wondering who he is. They dropped that quicker than they dropped fucking Titus Catering. You know? In the back for everybody to feast on during the fucking shows. That went nowhere. Now you want me to care about Mojo Rawley being on TV? Absolutely not. Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, they're doing a lot of nothing. A lot of catering, but a lot of nothing on WWE TV. You released the Ascension. You got rid of them. You didn't use them. The Lucha House Party, who the fuck are they? You dwindled them down to nothing. The Street Profits are nothing more than fucking weathermen dressed up as pro wrestlers on Monday Night Raw. Whereas when they were on NXT, they were exciting to watch. And when they came out, you were hyped. When the Street Profits come out on Monday Night Raw, who the fuck are the Street Profits? Instead of doing Saturday Night Live skits, why don't you get Montez Ford flying off the top rope and showing us why he's got the best goddamn fucking frog splash in the business? The Viking Raiders, I don't know whether to call them Ivar and Eric, or Hanson and Rowe, or the Viking Experience, the Viking Raider Experience, the fucking Loser Experience. The guys that have the Raw Tag Team titles that mean nothing because you changed your goddamn fucking name twice in 3 weeks. Have they recovered from that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The OC, you could brag about how they're the best tag team in the fucking world all you want. What did you do with them for 3 fucking years? Absolutely nothing. You know what they're the best at? Being a bunch of fucking losers. Never mind being the best tag team in the world. Oh, but they're with AJ Styles. Fucking AJ Styles. I'm talking about Carl Anderson and big man Luke Gallows. What are they to you? Absolutely mid-card garbage. Now, this all could have been avoided if WWE actually pushed these guys legitimately as top-tier tag team acts. You got AOP. What happened with them? Oh, yeah, that's right. They paired them with Drake Maverick. Yeah, let's bring AOP up with Paul Ellering, which was a perfect fucking package, by the way. We'll get rid of Paul Ellering, which everybody reported, oh, Paul Ellering's too old. He doesn't want to tour with the WWE. He came out quicker than you could fucking breathe and said that report was complete garbage. So what did they do? They took away one of the prime aspects of their act and gave us Drake Maverick with AOP, which did nothing for them. I mean, why the fuck would they listen to Paul Ellering for the majority of their NXT run, get brought up to the main roster, and then have to listen to someone like Drake Maverick? They have to take orders from someone like Drake Maverick, where Akam's leg itself is bigger than fucking Drake Maverick. You fucking kidding me? And then, what'd you do with them after that? You paired them with Drake Maverick, you made them into a fucking comedy act, and they were the brunt of piss jokes because Vince McMahon finds humor in toilet humor. Yeah, great job there, Vince. Great job. You got a fucking team that could go on to be a very credible big man tag team, and you fucking withered them down to nothing more than piss jokes. And Drake Maverick pissing on Bobby Roode's robe. You don't think I remember that, right? Yeah, I remember. The best thing that happened to AOP, well, I don't remember who got her. Akam or Razor? I don't know. But I think I'm going to just say, for the sake of this fucking tale that I'm telling you, Akam was injured. Akam's injury was the best thing that ever happened to the Authors of Pain. You want to know why? Because it took them away from the goddamn fucking urine jokes. What I'm trying to get at here is if WWE put some fucking effort and realized what they had in the tag team division, we would not be sitting here complaining about tag team wrestling in the WWE every single week. Can you imagine if all of these teams were built up and given some sort of credibility? The Usos and the Viking Raiders. Can you imagine the tag team matches that we could see from them? What about the Usos and the Street Profits? What about the Street Profits and AOP? What about AOP and the Usos? What about AOP and the Viking Raiders? Now imagine if the OC were built up. What about the OC versus the Street Profits? OC versus the Usos, which, you know, coincidentally was their first feud in the WWE when they've, debuted 3 years ago in a very lackluster fashion. Now, it would not have been the debut I gave the OC, or then the club, Gallows and Anderson. I would have had them go about everything very differently. But WWE has no sense of creativity. Their tag team division could be so much better. Who do we got on Monday Night Raw in the tag team division? I just mentioned those names. Who do we got on SmackDown Live? I don't know. The New Day, and that's pretty much it. Heavy Machinery, the Revival, they ain't going anywhere. They're on their way out to be elite, no question. You got the Lucha House Party, you got the New Day, and you got Heavy Machinery on SmackDown. So much so, SmackDown's tag team division is actually a lot worse than Monday Night Raw's because they're pairing fucking Chad Gable and Mustafa Ali as a tag team just for the sake of getting tag team wrestling on that show. Same thing they're doing with Nakamura and Cesaro. This is why I don't understand why Sheamus is coming back as a singles when they could easily pair him with Cesaro and have some fucking tag team wrestling on that show. Rinse and repeat, yes, but at least it would be another solid act in the tag team division. Again, I'm going to go back to the way it should be. If WWE wants some sort of division here, and you want tag team wrestling to be brought back to the way it should be, I would love for the tag team division to be spread across both shows. And this is something that would be unique to that division. You got the tag team for the men, and you got the tag team for the women that you can do the same thing with. It doesn't have to be, anything else. You got the mid-card titles on both shows. You got the world titles on both shows. And each division for both shows. You need some semblance of divisions. You got a heavyweight, you got a mid-card, and then you got the tag teams. And you got a women's division. You got to have some semblance of divisions. When you got order and structure in this thing, things are going to be a lot better. But as far as the tag team division goes, you can't operate a fucking division under 3 teams and then throw together some fucking names with some super glue and call them a tag team and then call itself a tag team division. You can't do that. You can't do that. I've been preaching this fucking idea for how long? When was the last draft? 2016? I've been preaching this for 3 fucking years. 3.5 years now. Why don't you listen to the fucking idea? Can you imagine that both shows benefit from tag team wrestling? Teams and talents that you got in this division that could really bring some fresh air and momentum to these shows? How would SmackDown look if they got the Street Profits versus the Usos on a random edition of SmackDown Live? Maybe in the main event, maybe for a tag team championship in the main event, instead of seeing fucking Baron Corbin in 6 segments. Right? Or am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong. I've been preaching this for 3.5 years. I know I'm right. We need something to change here. The Usos are on their way back, but instead of coming up with plans for the Usos to return to Monday Night Raw, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to walk past Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. Oos! How you doing, Oos? That's all. That's their plans. That's their fucking plans. WWE having plans for the Usos or plans for anybody really don't they don't matter. They don't really, it doesn't get anybody excited. You're asking them to come up with plans for the Usos, yet they can't even fucking come up with plans for the other talent on their shows right now that are suffering in their current positions. So they are working on legal issues. They opted to take Jimmy and Jay off the road, and now they are ready to come back. And we had Jimmy Uso arrested in late July. He was actually found not guilty on the DUI charge. Ready to come back. Speaking of Naomi, she's also been off the road, but she has claimed that her absence has been due to health and personal issues. No update on when she might be back, but it looks like the Usos will be back soon within the new year, possibly to start on the road to WrestleMania. Listen to me. I know I'm going to have to repeat this again because I get frustrated and I go off on these tangents, but tag team wrestling needs to thrive because in 2020, when you look at AEW's tag team division, they're not perfect either. They don't have the art of tag team wrestling down like we were promised. I'm not going to give them a fucking free pass either. I want tag team wrestling. You want tag team wrestling? You want what my vision is of tag team wrestling? Then you're going to go back and watch the Undisputed Era versus the Viking Raiders at TakeOver Phoenix. You're going to go watch the Viking Raiders versus Aleister Black and Ricochet at TakeOver New York. Tag team wrestling. Two of the best matches you'll see all year. That's tag team wrestling. You can even go back to TakeOver Chicago and watch the Undisputed Era versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Tag team wrestling. Please. You want tag team wrestling? How about the Undisputed Era versus the Revival just a month and a half ago on NXT TV? Why can't we get that on the main roster? You mean to tell me if you take that match and put that in the main event, it's not going to get over? It's not going to fucking deliver? It's not going to be all over social media as, oh my God, this is fucking awesome? Give me a break, man. Give me a break. Tag team wrestling in 2020 needs to be a priority. If not, Vince, blow me. Because you ain't doing it right. Kyra Sane, speaking of returns. Her concussion happened at TLC. And with the latest WWE schedules released for the early part of 2020, it could give us a glimpse as to when Kyra Sane will come back. She is currently being advertised to be in competition at the January 21st house show in Topeka, Kansas. The match advertised is the Kabuki Warriors versus Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair with the WWE Women's Tag Team titles on the line. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Another fucking worthless piece of hardware in the WWE. We'll have to wait and see if Shayne wrestles on television before the 21st. Obviously, that's logic. But WWE either A, has released these well in advance, and we're just catching wind of these now, or maybe WWE has sent out these schedules for the first portion of 2020, and they are in the know better than everybody else because they have not revealed any status update on Kyra Sane, so maybe they know better than anybody, and they put her on the list thinking that she will be ready to come back. And January 21st is one of those days in which we will see her in action. We hope. We hope, because Kyra Sane is awesome. So right now, take that with a small grain of salt. We got Kyra Sane being advertised for January 21st, but like I said, with 3 or 4 Monday Night Raws before that, we will see if she will be in active competition on those shows so that this reports could end up being true. So we'll have to wait and see if she's on Monday Night Raw in the weeks leading up to that January 21st house show in Topeka, Kansas. Speaking of Monday Night Raw, we got a new commentator set to join the team on Monday. Samoa Joe is going to be in a feud with Seth Rollins in the AOP, probably with Rey Mysterio for as long as he is there, because I think he's out the door after losing the title to Andrade, which we talked about on Friday's show. I love how, and it makes me sad, because people don't listen to me, or they don't listen well, or they don't listen through the show all the way. People were like in the comments section, did you hear about Andrade losing or Rey Mysterio rather? Rey Mysterio losing the United States Championship to Andrade at Madison Square Garden? Yeah, bro, I talked about it in the podcast on Friday. Did you not listen to the fucking show? Go and listen. My thoughts are there. I'm not repeating myself. New commentator set to join Monday Night Raw. Like I said, Joe is going to be embroiled in a feud with Rollins and AOP, more than likely with Rey Mysterio, who's going to be on his way out the door after WrestleMania. That's my prediction. And Kevin Owens, bro. Kevin Owens could have a 6-man, back and forth here on Monday Night Raw. Still doesn't give me the reason why Rollins joined the AOP or what their fucking end goal is. What their primary goal is on Monday Night Raw. Yeah, we joined forces because we're feuding with Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, and Samoa Joe. It's not really a reason to get together. You need to have a fucking end goal. You're going to take over the show. You're going to win all the major championships on that show. You're going to dethrone Brock Lesnar. What's the plan here? Oh, the fans, they don't like me anymore. I became the guy that they wanted, and now they hate me, and I have to turn heel. It's pretty much all I heard from Seth Rollins. They hate me. They don't like me anymore, so now I gotta be a bad guy. Whose fault is that? New commentator set to join Monday. I don't know why I'm going off on these. New commentator on Monday Night Raw. Joe's not going to be there anymore. Good for him. He showed everybody why he blew away Corey Graves in that same role with little to no effort. And we got Joe now back in active competition, which we need him on the show. He's got so much more left to give, especially with that microphone in his hand. This could be his big break. How many times have we talked about Samoa Joe finally getting a big break, or him deserving a big break? This could be it. This could be it. If he remains fucking healthy, I don't want to hear about him getting hurt anymore. But Joe nailed the commentary role on Monday Night Raw. According to Dave Meltzer, there will be a new member of the Raw announce team on the 12:30 show. That is this coming Monday, and the 23rd of December was Joe's last show. There's no word on who WWE is planning on replacing Joe at the Raw commentary table, so stay tuned for the podcast on Monday so we talk about the god-awful addition that they add to the Monday Night Raw commentary team. I am assuming, this is a logical guess here, I'm assuming that they might add a female to the commentary booth. Who are they going to add? Now, obviously, I would say let's add Nigel McGuinness, but I don't think that's going to happen. I say they add maybe Mickie James, or someone who's been out of action for so long, who knows the current product and the current roster and the current storylines, who's been there. Who are they going to add? I really don't give a shit who they add. What I want them to do is take Jerry Lawler off the fucking stage and get him out of there. The presentation of Monday Night Raw doesn't look good when you got a 70-year-old Jerry Lawler there on the commentary team. You need youthful, you need bright, you need witty, you need slick. He's none of those things anymore. He was. Now at 70 years old, he's not. So I don't know who they're going to add. Joe was all of those things, and he brought a sense of logic, which is absolutely missing from these shows. But who they get, I don't know. I'm more excited to see him back in the ring as an active competitor than I am as a commentator. But I know that when he's done in the ring, that if he wants a job as a commentator on this show, or these shows, or with this company, or anywhere for that matter, you know how great he is because of the opportunity he was given in the last month. So there you go. Moving on here, man. Fandango undergoes a rare surgery for a pro wrestler. Now, he announced on his Instagram that he has had Tommy John surgery. I didn't know Fandango was trying out for the Florida Marlins. You know, I remember when John Smoltz had Tommy John surgery, being an Atlanta Braves fan. He came back, and they were very iffy about putting him in the starting position again for a frontline starter, right? And then they made him into the best closer in the league. John Smoltz. Can you imagine? John Smoltz coming off Tommy John surgery and not really allowing, the Braves didn't really allow him to push himself in that starter role. Can you imagine coming in as the opposing team in the ninth inning and you gotta fucking stare down John Smoltz with his absolutely filthy fucking slider? Can you imagine that? And he still threw 95, 96 miles an hour. It's not like John Smoltz lost anything, because usually pitchers are stronger in the end after Tommy John surgery. I love that, man. They didn't win a fucking championship, and I don't think they ever will, but it was nice to see him because he's one of my favorite Braves. But Fandango, man, I don't think I've ever seen a pro wrestler undergo Tommy John surgery. What the fuck was he doing in his off time? I don't know. But I'm sure this is not the only time a pro wrestler had Tommy John surgery. It's definitely the first time that I've heard of a pro wrestler having Tommy John surgery. But the surgery involves replacing the ulnar collateral ligament in an individual's elbow with a tendon from elsewhere in the body or from a donor. The surgery is common among baseball players, primarily in pitchers, but it is more rare to see in the pro wrestling industry. Now, recovery time amongst pitchers in the MLB could be between 12 months, if lucky, upwards towards 18. I've seen players need double Tommy John surgery, upwards towards 2 years out of action because of Tommy John surgery. And then after that, you're just fucked. You don't really recover full and get back to where you want to be after 2 Tommy John surgeries. Sometimes 1, but sometimes people go through it, they look and feel great, and then they got to go for it again. So, an example comparable to Fandango is the Los Angeles Angels player, Ohtani. If you guys are familiar with the Los Angeles Angels. Ohtani is a unique player who doubles as a pitcher and a hitter and was able to return to hitting after only 7 months removed from Tommy John surgery. Fandango needs Tommy John. He had Tommy John. Like I said, the time frame is what it is for that type of injury, but Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter is reporting that pro wrestlers can generally make a return to the ring after 6 months after having the procedure. Technically, it's a reconstructive surgery, like I said. 6 months in the pro wrestling industry is the timetable for Fandango at this moment. So, we'll see what happens. He just recovered from an injury, and it sucks that he just got in there. He looked great. Looked like Tyler Breeze and Fandango could be making a mark on the tag team division again, and now he's out. So now Tyler Breeze is without his tag team partner. So we'll see what happens, and I'm assuming that Tyler Breeze, WWE would be wise to push Tyler Breeze in that undercard role, on NXT. Give him some TV time. He could be a real quality bench player for them. He's not going to really ascend the heights on the current version of NXT, but that was his in. Fandango was his in. Tyler Breeze needed Fandango. Fandango needed Tyler Breeze. That was their role. And I wanted to see them ascend that role because they're very entertaining and they're very good together. So hopefully they do pick up where they left off when he does come back. But he's going to be out at least till the summer for Tommy John surgery and recovery. So there you go with Fandango. Speaking of NXT had a Christmas Day episode. It really wasn't a Christmas Day episode, but it was just a collective of matches that WWE put on the USA Network for 2 hours. People were asking, JD, where's the NXT review? And I'm like, I'm not covering NXT. I don't know why you guys don't listen to me, why you would expect me to work on Christmas Day, and why you would want me to cover something that really has no bearing on storylines. Now, I will say this. I did watch because I was very curious, and I'm a very big fan of his, and I have a level of excitement for him more so than I do a lot of other people in this company. And I went out of my way to go watch Roderick Strong and Austin Theory for the North American Championship. The match opened the show on Wednesday, and I did watch it back on DVR, and it was absolutely fantastic. It's not a match of the year candidate by any stretch, but being that Austin Theory is only 22, 23 years old, and, he's been in the business for about 4 years, and he is as good as he is right now, is something that I generally am most attracted to. I love seeing the progress of someone that talented. And I love seeing the progress of someone who, there's a lot of aura about him. There's a lot of hype around him. And I could see why. And I seen him after hearing people talk about, Austin Theory's going to be a major player in the industry. Austin Theory's great. So I went to a couple of Evolve shows, and I see him work against Johnny Gargano. I see him work against Roderick Strong at a couple of the Evolve shows that I went to. And what I seen from Austin Theory was something that I said to myself, I want to see more of this guy. This guy has it. This guy has that something about him. And I look at him, and I look at what I think he could be. And I said to myself, if Vince McMahon is still capable of fucking telling talent, real raw fucking top-tier talent, and just being able to decipher what that is, if he looks at Austin Theory, I guarantee you he's going to see his next John Cena. That's how good Austin Theory is. But Austin Theory, at this point in his career, was better than John Cena ever was at that particular point in his career. At this stage of the game, Austin Theory is far superior than John Cena. He can do literally everything, and the fact that he went over 20 minutes with Roddy on NXT should be all the questions that you have, it should be all the answers that you need. Seriously. Go out of your way to watch this kid work. He is going to be one of the best things, not only in NXT when he's ready to make TV on a regular basis, but he's going to be one of the biggest pieces to this company's future. Adam Cole, Austin Theory, guys like that. They're going to really have a unbelievable career. That's the way I feel. And I want you guys to go out and watch this kid work. Seriously. And by what I seen, just from what I seen him do with Roddy, I don't know why he's not on TV as of right now. because that was a showcase match. He passed with flying colors. If you want to put him on TV right now after that display he did with Roddy, I'd be okay with it. I don't know why. After watching that, he's not. Austin Theory's going to have a great career in WWE, and I can see why everybody was talking about him before I jumped on the bandwagon, and this kid's got it. I can't wait to see him progress. Go out and watch it. Anyway, NXT did impressive numbers on Christmas Day. They actually drew a rating of 831,000 viewers on Wednesday nights. This week's show brought in 36,000 more viewers than last week's episode of 795,000. The viewership numbers are great for a pre-taped holiday show that was kind of taped at Barclays Center after SmackDown and some taped, on NXT TV before those shows went live on the USA Network. AEW was not on TNT on Wednesday, so NXT went unopposed on Wednesday night. AEW has a stacked show for next week's show, and they are looking to really set the year off right with a great show. If I could go into my AEW notes here for what I got lined up for Tuesday, we got Cody Rhodes versus Darby Allin. We got Riho defending the AEW Women's Championship against Nyla Rose, Britt Baker, and Hikaru Shida in a fatal four-way. It was supposed to be Riho versus Chris Statlander, but that got moved to the following week. We'll go over that and what I think of that on Tuesday on Off the Script Elite. We got Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers and Pac. Jon Moxley versus Trent. MJF will appear live to confront Cody Rhodes. Taz will be there. There's rumor that there's rumor that AEW wants Taz possibly for a authority figure role. I think he would be great on the commentary team, but Taz looks like he's working in some way with AEW. And then we got, obviously, Jericho and Moxley. Will Moxley join the Inner Circle? The answer is no, but obviously that's the cliffhanger going into Wednesday Night Dynamite. So they got a great show planned for Wednesday on January 1, 2020. So that is that. NXT is not having a legit show on Wednesday, so AEW this Wednesday is actually going to be going unopposed. Now, NXT, as a way to counter AEW, I think they're showing end-of-the-year highlights. They're showing particular matches. I think they're going to be showing some matches in full, like the biggest matches that NXT has had this year. They're probably going to be showing in full during that 2-hour broadcast, which is kind of cheap. So it's not really, I hope the ratings, showcase and come out for AEW because they need it. But NXT, realistically is not having a real show. They'll be back on January 8th. So that is what's going on with Wednesday. But NXT did a very good number of 831,000, and it's impressive for a tape show on Christmas night of all the nights during the year. Speaking of NXT, Shawn Michaels is now in charge of NXT UK. Shawn Michaels resisted taking a job with the WWE. He wanted to live the rest of his life in peace in Texas, on his ranch with his kids and his wife. He wanted to be away from everything pro wrestling. He was tired of everybody asking one more match. Are you coming back? No. He wanted to just retire in peace. Now, while speaking to After the Bell, Triple H revealed that HBK has really taken the reins over at NXT UK. In fact, he described Shawn Michaels as picking up the ball as he's explained what an important part of NXT UK Shawn Michaels has turned out to be. He says this in a sit-down with Corey Graves, and I quote, "The one thing that Shawn isn't even mentioning on his end, everybody has so much going on, but as NXT is evolving with the USA Network move and picking up that pace, it made me have to back out of some things." Shawn Michaels picked up the ball on the UK and basically got that pushed his way. He was such an integral part of it anyway that he just kind of latched on more to it. He's been heading over there, what it is, every 5 or 6 weeks to do television. He's kind of heading over there and spearheading the entire operation, sort of taking on the ownership of that brand totally in and of himself, end quote. That's awesome. That is excellent news. Not only for everybody who's a fan of NXT UK, but, you guys don't know what it really means. From what I see, in my interpretation of this, What I think this means is that, Vince, we got to live with Vince right now. We got to live with Vince. We got to live with his team. We got to live with, we got to live with all these fucking goons, right? But Vince is not going to be there forever. And when Vince is no longer capable, I wish that was now. When Vince is no longer capable of running these shows, it's going to be Triple H. I'm assuming it's going to be Triple H taking over operation of the main roster of Raw and on SmackDown. Now, when he does that, obviously, the reason why he is in NXT doing the job that he's doing now and assembling the team that he is assembling right now with people that he trusts, that will do the job that he has done after he is no longer capable of doing that, maintaining the essence of NXT. He's ingrained and taught everybody what NXT is and what it needs to be moving on into the future. There's a reason why he did this. There's a reason why he continues to do this. There's a reason why all of these NXT shows are labeled TakeOver. Because Triple H is eventually not only taking over the pro wrestling industry, closing down indies everywhere, sucking up the indies as he sees fit to fill NXT's belly, but it also pertains to what is happening internally with the WWE. It's not only WWE and NXT taking over the wrestling market and monopolizing everything, it's Triple H taking over the WWE. And it has a real symbolism. Shawn Michaels is going over to NXT UK to run that brand. That's great. Why does Triple H have to think about what's happening on NXT UK and think about what's happening on NXT here in the United States? Why does he need so many things on his plate? Why does he need to do that for himself or to himself? He's got Shawn Michaels to go over there and do what he does best. You don't think Shawn Michaels is capable of doing and thinking on his own? You don't think he's hung around Triple H enough or long enough in NXT to a point where he doesn't know what needs to be done over there? It's the same operation. If Triple H can have Shawn Michaels go over there and do what he needs to do in the same way that Triple H would do it, that is a huge load off of Triple H's back. Now he can worry about NXT and not have to worry about anything that's going on with NXT UK, and it's in the hands of his best friend, and he knows Shawn is not going to fuck anything up over there. Shawn's going to do the same thing that Triple H would have done, but him not being Triple H. It's easy. It is so seamless. And you don't think Triple H has somebody else underneath Shawn Michaels to take Shawn Michaels' spot? Whereas Shawn Michaels was the second in command, I'm sure, over in NXT underneath Triple H. You don't think Triple H had somebody else underneath Shawn Michaels learning and just gaining all this knowledge? Of course he does. So now he's got a new number two, and when Triple H moves on to the main roster, who do you think is going to take over NXT when Triple H is no longer needed there? And he's got a bigger role. Triple H is not going to take over Raw, SmackDown, and be in control of NXT. He's going to put NXT in control of somebody that he has taught over many years to take that role. It might be Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels might come back over and run NXT, and Triple H's number two in command might go over to NXT UK. This is a company-wide takeover. And it's good for Triple H because now he can focus on and be refreshed in ideas he wants to get out there for NXT, not having to worry about anything else. Shawn can do that on his own. Yeah, he might have to consult Triple H. Yeah, I'm sure they go back and forth. But this is an awesome move. This is awesome. Triple H's takeover is in full effect internally in WWE. Shawn Michaels is in charge of NXT UK. Matt Hardy makes the comment that WWE does not think he is high-level talent anymore. WWE, to be fair, they never thought Matt Hardy was high-level talent to begin with. They always, and I said this a few times in the past couple of weeks, they always looked at Jeff as being the one Hardy that they found to be the most profitable. He was the star. Jeff was always the star in the eyes of WWE. Matt was always the other Hardy. And that might be mean and disrespectful to say, but I mean that in no disrespectful way. That's just the truth. And Matt knows that as well. Matt knows this. Rebby knows this. Jeff knows this. So Matt, there's no reason for Matt to be in the WWE anymore. There really isn't. There was a role and a spot for him with Jeff as a pairing, But being on his own while Jeff is taking care of his personal situations and working his way back to the company, there's no reason for Matt, especially with the contract situation, there's no reason for Matt to stay. Because they will never look at Matt in the same way that they look at Jeff. Matt noticed that WWE included the Hardy Boys' return in a list of unforgettable moments. You know, the one that they replayed all the time at WrestleMania 31 with them coming out and winning the tag team titles and being introduced by the New Day. You guys know the moment. So he thanked the company and admitted on social media that WWE doesn't consider them top-level talent anymore. The Hardys still left a huge mark in WWE, no question. They'll be Hall of Famers eventually someday. Now, he thanked the company and admitted that the WWE doesn't consider them top-level talent. WWE will always consider Jeff Hardy top-level talent. I don't think they consider Matt Hardy, and he knows that, top-level talent anymore. He says, thanks for the inclusion on social media, and I quote, "Thanks for the inclusion at WWE. I know we aren't currently considered top-level talent, but this return left an indelible mark on pro wrestling history in terms of legit shock and surprise as well as happiness and triumph. This one tops the list for many." Now, Matt Hardy, he's been doing that free the delete on his YouTube channel. We don't know what's going to happen with him. His contract's up in February. You guys know my stance on this. I think it's better off if he leaves, if he goes back to Impact, if he goes to Ring of Honor, if he goes to AEW. I think anybody at this point would welcome him, and he would be able to get his creativity out there and maybe resurrect the broken universe. Not some fucking piss-poor effort that WWE took from Matt Hardy, tried to make it their own, and it really just killed all the uniqueness and the special feeling that the gimmick had originally, because they wanted to turn it into a watered-down version. Hopefully he lands somewhere, and he said that he has at least another 2, 3, maybe 4 years left in him. He doesn't want to waste his time in the WWE being stifled on his creativity. He wants to go out there and create. He wants to go out there and make some new moments in the last couple of chapters he has in his career. And I hope that he does. I really do. I don't want to have to sit here and report that Matt Hardy signs an extension waiting for Jeff to come back to the WWE, signs an extension to stay with the WWE. I hope that is not the case. Leave. They don't need you. You don't need them. You're going to be able to make just as much money and be happier in the end without Vince McMahon. I'm not saying you can't thank or owe Vince McMahon many thanks, but they don't need you right now. Clearly, they're only using you now because you're at the tail end of your contract. Get out while you can. Same thing for Rusev. Get out while you can. This storyline is not getting you any more over than you were previously. WWE is in no way on the Rusev bandwagon. They will never push Rusev. This is just something that is smoke and mirrors for Rusev. You think if he signs a 5-year deal, WWE is going to keep him in a top-level priority storyline? Give me a fucking break. How many cuckold storylines could you actually produce for somebody? This is nothing. It's not getting him more over than he was with Rusev Day and Aiden English. That's when you should have struck with Rusev, and you didn't. Hopefully, he realizes that he doesn't need WWE either. The Revival, they feel that way because you could see it on their body language. Or in their body language. They don't need WWE either. So I hope that we are sitting here, and all three of these situations are the same. They don't need Vince McMahon. Guys, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. We got major Monday Night Raw news. We got interesting top feuds going into the new year on Monday Night Raw. We got backstage news on Paul Heyman and who he wants to push and plans for guys that he wants to push. I got Vince McMahon being heavily behind certain guys on Monday Night Raw. Who are they and what is he going to do? And I got Royal Rumble news as it pertains to Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Bray Wyatt going on into the Rumble and on into WrestleMania. Before we do that, guys, shout out to my good friends over at Audible. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Make sure you guys use our unique link and sign up for Audible. 30 days free and one free audio book of your choice. I've been pushing the Glenn Jacobs Mayor Kane book, which you guys can get for $29.99 retail price on Audible. You guys use our link, you sign up, you get the 30 days and that one free audio book. That could be your free audio book. You could get Mayor Kane, My Life in Wrestling and Politics, narrated for 8 hours plus by Glenn Jacobs himself for free. That is audibletrial.com/offthescript. And if you guys don't want that book, you got over 200 1,000 choices to choose from, a lot of which are wrestling related. Guys, again, thank Audible for supporting the podcast and sponsoring the podcast. audibletrial.com/offthescript. We all know that Paul Heyman's influence on Monday Night Raw isn't really what we wanted it to be. We all expected him to come on in and have some ideas which, at the end of the day, we all knew would be overridden by Vince McMahon. We all knew this because it's still Vince's show. No matter what happens on this show, it's all Vince McMahon giving the green light at the end of the day. Paul Heyman could have his say in who he wants on the show, who he wants to push. Vince might be a little bit more open, being that he has Paul Heyman in this position of power. But at the end of the day, if he listens to Paul Heyman, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. He could give Paul Heyman an opportunity with a certain guy at the end of the couple of weeks. Could be Vince McMahon saying, you know what, I'm not feeling him anymore. We're going to go and do what I originally wanted to do in the first place. Paul Heyman is trying new methods to get Monday Night Raw superstars over in 2020. After a few matches over the last few weeks, Humberto Carrillo and Andrade Cien Almas will be continuing their feud into the new year. I guess we got some new hardware for them to fight over now, too, being that Andrade is the new United States champion. The duo seem to have good chemistry, so, it's not the worst thing that we could possibly ask for on Monday Night Raw. Will the fans give a shit? Probably not, but maybe, the United States title will enhance what we see in the ring from these two guys, and the fans will get involved. Now, according to Dave Meltzer on the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter, the plan is to have Andrade and Humberto feud with Rey Mysterio in the coming weeks to help them get over. I'm sure Rey Mysterio is not done with the United States Championship by a long shot. What else is there for him to do? Absolutely nothing. So this is where he will be. Seems like not only Humberto and Andrade will be having feuds in the coming weeks. The idea is for Clownlins, and Kevin Owens to be in a feud with Rey Mysterio as well, to have two big storylines going into Monday Night Raw to start January 2020. Now you could add Samoa Joe to that, and you got the AOP. We got two major storylines. Maybe Rey Mysterio isn't going to be mixed into the United States Championship picture anyway. He's not going to be mixed into that at all. Maybe they took it off of him because they want to focus on Humberto and Andrade, and they're moving Rey Mysterio into this thing, which at the end of the day means nothing. I still don't know why the Architects of Pain are even together. I guess they want to rid WWE of Rey Mysterio. That was their end goal. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Maybe Rey's not going to have anything to do with the United States title, and they're mainly focusing on Andrade and Carrillo because they want to build new stars. Do they ever build new stars? No, because one will win, one will lose, and the follow-up will be absolute dog shit, which it usually is. So Mysterio looks to be in this feud with Rollins and Owens and Joe and AOP, so he might be out of the U.S. title picture altogether. It appears that at least two of Raw's brightest and biggest guys are set for bigger things, according to the latest rumors making the rounds in the dirt sheet. The rumor is that both Andrade and Humberto are being positioned as stars of the future by Paul Heyman. Now, this comes after a report weeks ago where Vince McMahon reportedly was done with trying to push Carrillo. It's not that difficult to figure out why. You could just watch the shows and you could see that the guy was coming out to fucking library silence. They even changed his theme music. Now, one would think logically, if they're changing Humberto's theme music from that god-awful song he had when he first came to Monday Night Raw to something with a little bit more pizzazz, right? Which is his current theme music, still garbage. Maybe they are trying to really get behind this guy and they're doing what they can to invest in Humberto. I'm trying to think logically here. Is he over with the fans? No, he's not. You know, if you say he is, you're fooling yourself. He's not over with the fans. Could he be over with the fans? Absolutely. Why isn't he over with the fans is what you should really be asking. You gotta go back to the science lab and dissect this fucking equation. Motherfucker. It's not that difficult to figure out. You know, I'm no Bill Nye, but it's not that fucking difficult to figure out. Why isn't Humberto over when you bury somebody for fucking an entire year and you fucking riddle him to nothing but 205 Live and then throw him on Monday Night Raw and watch him fucking die right before your very eyes? I don't think that's really conditioning the fans to give a fuck about Humberto Carrillo. Am I right? It's not that hard. You didn't give a fuck about this guy for an entire year as he wasted away in the small bubble that was 205 Live. You pull him out of 205 Live and put him on Monday Night Raw and you expect me to fucking care? Who the fuck is Humberto Carrillo? All I see is dimples and someone trying to be Ray Phoenix. I need substance. Who the fuck is he? I looked at pictures of who Humberto was before Humberto was Humberto. You know what? I found myself more invested in him wearing a fucking mask than I do Humberto right now. And I know Sal Rex knows that's the truth. By the way, I don't know how I forgot about this. Happy birthday to Sal Rex. I don't know why I forgot. He texted me. He's like, am I going to get a shout out on the podcast? I'm like, of course, bro. You're fucking important to me. Of course you're going to get a fucking shout out on the podcast. Happy fucking birthday to Sal Rex. You better have a fucking cold Guinness for me, bro. Otherwise, you're doing the birthday all wrong. Seriously, enjoy your day, bro, and relax, and I will talk to you more than likely throughout the day. So, happy birthday, my friend. You are a huge, huge part of what is going on here, and I am lucky to have you on my team, and I hope you enjoy your day, man. Anyway, he knows Humberto's garbage. Listen, I want to like Humberto, but the writing's in the fucking wall. The writing is in the wall, or on the wall, in the fucking pudding, wherever the fuck you want the writing to be. It's there, it's visible for Humberto. The guy was dead before he even made it through the curtain. Then you want me to care about him. You can't do that. Look at Andrade. I don't even like Andrade as much as I do, and that's not because I don't like Andrade. I think Andrade might very well be one of the best fucking wrestlers on the planet. What does WWE do? They don't realize that. They buried this guy, made his debut in April of 2018. What have WWE done since then to push this guy in a meaningful way? 50-50 booking up and down this guy's career on the main roster, and nobody buys into him as a credible threat. What have I been saying all those times you got Andrade and fucking Zelina Vega out there? You don't need Zelina Vega helping Andrade beat fucking Sin Cara on Monday Night Raw. Save it for a big moment. And for all the people asking, JD, why didn't they have Andrade win the United States Championship on Monday Night Raw? It's because WWE wants to put a focus on the house shows. Because I agree with you. Why didn't this happen on Monday Night Raw? Yes, I understand completely, and I'm in that same line of questioning. I really am. Why didn't they do this on Monday Night Raw? They want to put a focus on the house shows because if you don't go to the house shows, then you're going to miss out on something big like that happening inside the Garden. That's why they do it. These have become a yearly tradition for a lot of people. You're going to see possible title changes, and that's exactly why they did it. That's why nobody is on the side of Humberto. Yeah, the talent's there. Yeah, he's good. He's good, right? But who the fuck is he and why should I care? And that's exactly the reaction he's getting. So I know that my scientific fucking, problem solving here is correct. Teach! What am I got? What do I got for a grade? What am I getting? A? Yeah, I know. And I should be teaching the fucking class, you fucking goon. Anyway, Vince was done pushing Carrillo. Apparently, there might be some truth to that. There might not be some truth to that. It all depends on the follow-up. Is Carrillo going to win the United States title? I hope not. I hope not. Because if you want the title to die on Humberto, then by all means, do that. Do that. I think Andrade needs the title, and he needs to have a lengthy reign with that championship. Now, with two of Monday Night Raw's brightest in-ring talents, Humberto and Andrade, Something they have proved over and over again, they are good at what they do. You just got to give me reason to care. Vince, hopefully, will be able to get these guys over, and hopefully he will be less reluctant to give people like this an opportunity, because he's harming himself in the end by not pushing these guys properly, like I said. You know, these guys aren't the quintessential guys that Vince McMahon looks at to push. These guys don't speak English very well. They're not fucking filling their bodies with steroids. They're not blonde. They're not American. You guys know the deal. I don't need to go over this. Hopefully Vince McMahon will, and this is like fucking wishing upon a fucking shooting star here. Hopefully Vince McMahon gives guys like this and guys after this more of an opportunity. I don't think so. For Raw, current ideas are to push Carrillo and Andrade in a program, try to get them both over, as well as Andrade with Mysterio, Mysterio with Rollins and AOP, and Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. It's having top guys with two different programs instead of doing one. So that's Rey Mysterio's situation, like I said. I like having them both in multiple feuds. I've always liked that. You know, you don't need to put one guy with one guy and have him stuck in that one program. You know, one program could kind of be its own thing, but he could also be in another program. Why does everybody have to be kept away from each other? It's nice when you got these intertwining pieces together. You know, it makes the show feel fuller. That's just me. I don't know what you guys think about that, but Andrade and Carrillo, Humberto, and then you got Mysterio with the Clown Parade there in Seth Rollins and then Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. So hopefully Paul Heyman could work his magic here and tell us, or give us, I should say, and tell some exciting stories here on Monday Night Raw that actually get people interested. And normally with the rating that we see on Monday Night Raw, it was bad. It was bad. But going into the Royal Rumble season, things are going to hopefully pick up. Going into WrestleMania season, things are going to pick up. The ratings aren't going to be a 1.8. Hopefully not. For these people, they deserve it, but we'll see what happens. Things are going to pick up, and hopefully Paul Heyman is at the forefront of that. Now, speaking of Paul Heyman, plans for other wrestlers that he's got on his mind. According to the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer gave a list of some of the wrestlers being pushed by Paul Heyman. Obviously, Andrade and Humberto. Among the other names listed, Charlotte Flair. So they do appear to have plans for Charlotte. The Android, Charlotte Flair. The Queen? Nah. The Android, Charlotte Flair. Which I will not be doing the Android here because it doesn't call for it. She didn't speak. When she speaks, then the Android comes out. Even though she's not been too happy, by the way, she's been booked since WrestleMania. Oh, let me go fucking get the Sunday Flyer and see what Kleenex is on sale for at CVS. 3 for $6. Oh, there you go. You want a fucking Kleenex, right? Do androids need Kleenex? They might fucking seep, well, the wet ones anyway, the wet wipes. You could use Kleenex. Maybe I'll get you some wet wipes. Maybe the fucking liquid will seep into your fucking mechanisms. Maybe you'll snap some sense into you, fucking retard. Give me a break. She's unhappy the way she's booked. Are you fucking serious? Holy shit, man. Can you say entitled bitch? I can. No fucking holding anything back here, man. We're going into the new year with the same mentality we had, all guns blazing. Charlotte is an entitled bitch. It's what she is. There's no reason. There's no reason why this woman should be pushed the way. I don't know who the fuck is banging, but fuck them. Anyway, we got Charlotte Flair unhappy the way she's booked. Meltzer says this. They have people that they're trying to get over. Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Live. You can see them every week. It's Aleister Black. Really? Aleister Black was held in a broom closet for 8 months. Now they're pushing him. And apparently he was injured. I didn't hear anything about Aleister Black being injured outside of one little instance. Ricochet, Buddy Murphy, Charlotte Flair, Drew McIntyre. They want to get these people over. They want to elevate these people. There's a plan. At least there's a plan. Instead of this scattershot nothing where you can watch and think they got no plans, at least there's something going on. They're attempting to start to build something for the future. Folks, Aleister Black has been on the main roster since April. So is Ricochet. Buddy Murphy has been there for God knows how long. You got Cedric Alexander, Charlotte Flair. I mean, who gives a fuck? Drew McIntyre's been there for how long? Now you want to start building for the future. Yet you had these guys all this time. So what is this? Is this Paul Heyman's fucking cleanup? Is Paul Heyman now here to clean up all the mess that WWE Creative did and give them ideas on how to book these guys when WWE Creative should have been in the boat of booking these guys as main event talent already? These guys, Ricochet, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Buddy Murphy should be a mainstay in the Intercontinental or U.S. title picture. Aleister Black should have at least a title reign under his belt. Ricochet, instead of giving the guy a 21-day U.S. title reign, he should be the U.S. champion. Or at least be built up, you know? Instead of having Brock Lesnar as the WWE champion, why don't we get that title back on the fucking show so that these guys could be built up to that status? You can't do that with Lesnar as the champion, you know? They have these guys all this time, and now they want to start building for the future. Black has been in a fucking closet waiting for somebody to knock on his door. That's the plan. Ricochet, his mystique is gone coming up from NXT. We looked at him as a world champion, now we look at him as a loser. Buddy Murphy, he was in the match of his life against Roman Reigns and then beat Daniel Bryan the next week. And what did WWE do? They kept him off TV for 5 weeks following that. That's a follow-up to these fucking people. I don't understand why now you need to get these people over when they should have already been over. I don't get that logic. But I got to give credit to Paul Heyman. I got to give him some credit here. At least he's trying. How much of what he's trying is going to seep through the cracks? I don't know. It's all on Vince McMahon. We could not see Aleister Black. We could not see Ricochet. We could not see Buddy Murphy in the positions that we want to see them in, or they deserve to be in. It's all on Vince McMahon, but at least Paul Heyman is throwing shit at the wall, and hopefully somebody listens. Now, hopefully Heyman is allowed time to get these guys over. That's why we're seeing these squash matches. So that's another thing that Paul Heyman has instituted on these shows. I mean, it works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Cedric Alexander was another one of those guys on Paul Heyman's list, but McMahon made the call a couple months ago to bury him. So who's to say Vince is not going to ask for Ricochet to be buried or Buddy Murphy to be buried because they're not getting over in the way that he wants, or they're not, I guess, portrayed in a certain way that he likes. Could be anything. Samoa Joe, Rollins, Bobby Lashley are also Paul Heyman-backed guys. They're in big storylines right now. If you want to consider the Bobby Lashley thing with Lana a big storyline, it's more like a fucking garbage storyline. Lashley is scheduled to marry Lana on Monday, and we could be getting Joe versus Rollins in some way, shape, or form at the Royal Rumble. So we could be headed towards that as well. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, at least Paul Heyman is trying and has assembled a roster of guys he wants to see succeed. Speaking of McMahon on Raw, there's 3 guys that McMahon wants to push. Those guys are Drew McIntyre, which should have been done already, Aleister Black, which should have been done already, and Eric Rowan. Yes, let me repeat that. Yes, the guy carrying the fucking burlap sack with a cage, Eric Rowan. Now, Meltzer wrote in The Observer, right now, they are giving big pushes to Drew McIntyre, Aleister Black, and Eric Rowan. We do know that Vince McMahon is heavily behind a Rowan push. Why? Why is McMahon behind a Rowan push? You know, the one thing that I was thinking of before I even hit record on this podcast, when I read this story, I'm like, this has to be Vince McMahon trolling everybody. This has to be Vince McMahon trolling Luke Harper. Because why would he find a push in Eric Rowan and not a push in Luke Harper? You all know, everybody knows Luke Harper is the winning guy in that duo. But you end up releasing him and not pushing him because you can't do a Southern accent. But you want to push Eric Rowan. I don't get it. It seems like Vince, and I would not be shocked if this is the case, it seems like Vince is doing this on purpose to push Rowan just to get back at fucking Luke Harper. And make him seem like the good guy and the right guy. Oh, look, I released the dead weight. Look at what we got in Eric Rowan. Look at how over he is. Look at how much people are interested in him. So he's making him a pet project just to kind of prove a point almost. I could absolutely see that being the case. Drew McIntyre, I mean, the guy should be a world champion already. He's not. And I don't think he ever will be based on what we've seen. And then Aleister Black, Listen, the guy is one of the best things in this entire company. There's no reason why this guy's wasted all year on Monday Night Raw. Absolutely no reason. Rowan has never received much of a push in his WWE career until recently, always a part of some variation of the Wyatt family or teaming with Luke Harper or being paired with Daniel Bryan. Rowan only recently began his somewhat successful singles run, which I don't even deem successful because nobody is really giving a shit about what's in the sack. And he's fought nothing but jobbers. Local meth heads that they picked up. Local guys that were in aisle 8 at Stop and Shop looking for what flavor ramen noodle they're going to eat that evening. Pay him $100. You'll eat all the ramen you want. Come and get buried by Eric Rowan on Monday Night Raw. Now, meanwhile, McIntyre has been picking up wins. Matt Hardy, Zack Ryder, the usuals, right? He's never had much direction at all. And now he is bouncing from feud to feud. He's got no direction still, but they're making him into a monster on Monday Night Raw where he already should have been a monster. But you fed him to Roman, you paired him with Corbin, he was feuding with Strowman. Dead. You put him in positions where he was never able to thrive and succeed. Now you want to see him succeed. After all the shit that we had to see him go through, now you expect me to care? Might be too little too late. The damage might have been done. That's what WWE doesn't understand. Aleister Black, he would have likely been pushed harder in 2019, but he had some on and off situations with being healthy. I didn't hear about that. I don't know where that information came from. I just think WWE didn't have a fucking plan for Aleister Black. They looked at him and they were like, I don't know what to do with this guy. We'll keep him in a fucking closet and then we'll think of it along the way. That's exactly what they did with him. He had a match with Cesaro, Extreme Rules. Very good match with him. And then he got hurt again. And then he came back and now he's in a feud with Buddy Murphy. Which could be match in a night come Monday because they're having a one-on-one on Raw. We'll see. Vince McMahon's heavily behind Aleister Black. We'll see what Aleister Black does. Does that mean a possible Royal Rumble win? Not with Roman in the Rumble. Speaking of the Rumble, early news on the Rumble. There is hype for the Rumble. The Rumble is the Rumble. It's my favorite. It's a big favorite for everybody during the year. It's my favorite pay-per-view of the entire year. Friday Night SmackDown, we got Daniel Bryan and the Universal Championship match being determined. He's going to go on to challenge The Fiend at the Royal Rumble. Corbin and Reigns clearly will continue going on into the Rumble. And another match that is expected. I would not be shocked if Roman Reigns eliminates Baron Corbin in the end of the Rumble to win the Royal Rumble. That's my prediction. If you think, because I know they're not stupid enough to book this match at the Royal Rumble. I know they're not. This is going to culminate in Reigns eliminating Corbin in the Royal Rumble and then going on to become the number one contender for the Universal Championship. And then Monday Night Raw is going to get the Elimination Chamber. And then we'll get Brock's challenger in the Elimination Chamber determined. That's my prediction. Roman's going to win the Rumble. And he's going to eliminate Baron Corbin. Because Vince is that fucking stupid. And how could you boo Roman Reigns if he's eliminating somebody else that you fucking can't stand for all the wrong reasons? It's exactly what's going to happen, folks. I know if I'm Vince McMahon, that's what I'm doing to get Roman Reigns over, because how the fuck can you boo him? Asuka challenging Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship should be good. 1 year in the making. Also a Bray Wyatt, that is, if my math is correct, 6 years in the making. Same match happened at the 2014 Royal Rumble, and it ended up being Bray Wyatt's best match ever in the WWE. So we got Asuka and Lynch. Another match that looks likely for the pay-per-view, Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins, or some version of that match. Maybe we get a six-way with the Architects of Pain versus Mysterio, Joe, and Owens, bro. So we'll see what happens. And we should know more going into Monday Night Raw for Monday, and then obviously going on into the first Raw of 2020. But that is the way the Royal Rumble news is shaping up. Lesnar's Royal Rumble opponents revealed. Now, I did report that Lesnar was rumored to be going one-on-one with Cain Velasquez, which he beat in 2 minutes at Crown Jewel. So, why on fucking earth? I don't know who asked for this, number one. And number two, why on earth anyone would want to see this match again in the WWE? There are some out there, and I label them idiots. So, Lesnar It was rumored that it could be Cain Velasquez at WrestleMania, which would be complete and utter garbage. Could be Tyson Fury, which would be an absolute fucking embarrassment. I wish I could think of a word right now worse than the word embarrassment. I don't think that word is doing that potential match justice at all. It could be either one of those two. So Brock is in need of a new opponent because, as reported, neither one of those matches is happening as of right now. None of those matches are in the plan. Thank Christ. Thank the fucking Lord. Holy shit, someone actually gives a shit about me up there. Gives a shit about us. According to Cage Side Seats, the rumor right now is that Brock will defend against either Kevin Owens, bro, or Randy Orton. Neither one of those matches I give a shit about at all. I don't give a shit. I really, 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 really don't give a shit about either one of those matches. If I was to choose one or the other, I'm going to go with Randy Orton. Kevin Owens is feuding with Seth Rollins. Why the fuck would he be involved in Brock Lesnar? I don't get it. Why would you bury who could potentially be the number one babyface on this show and get him in a feud for the interim against Brock Lesnar only to inevitably lose? I don't get it. We could get Randy Orton in a rematch of sorts from what they did at SummerSlam a couple years back. I would rather see that. I think that could be a nice back and forth. If that is the two choices that we are being dealt, I'm going with Randy Orton. Kevin Owens is absolutely out of the question for me. I don't think that's right at all. At all. You want a repeat of what you did with him and Goldberg? Then by all means do that. Kevin Owens needs to be built as a top babyface on this show. Feeding him to Brock is not the way to go here. With Randy Orton in a feud with AJ Styles, maybe they can move him out of that. Maybe get a big win over AJ in some way, shape, or form, and then move on to Brock Lesnar. I don't know. Does WWE need any storyline for anybody involving Brock Lesnar and his opponents? They just do it. They just make the match. It doesn't fucking matter. And according to sources, according to Dave Meltzer, Lesnar might not be defending the WWE Championship at all at the Royal Rumble. He'll have a match, but he won't be defending the title. And if that's the case, that is a good, logical decision, because why do you need Lesnar to defend the title if nobody really is positioned to be in that same league as Lesnar? Does anybody on this show deserve a WWE Championship match? No. Absolutely not. But JD, Lesnar's the champion. He has to defend it. Who the fuck says? Who says? I would rather Lesnar show up and not defend the title than defend the title against someone who is completely unworthy of a title shot to begin with. That's just the way I stand. And I stand squarely on that opinion. Lesnar doesn't need to defend the title at all. If he wants to defend the title, it should be against somebody credible enough and worthy enough to say, hey, I deserve a WWE Championship match. Could be Drew McIntyre. I don't know. Could be Aleister Black, but WWE's building these guys up for something big, and you don't want to stifle that momentum by throwing them into the cage with Brock Lesnar. You don't want to do that, because they'll tear them apart. You know, if Drew McIntyre is going to win the title, that's a different story, but I don't see Lesnar going into WrestleMania not the WWE champion. And in this case, I think WWE, they keep going back to this Brock Lesnar train, and it's doing more harm than good, and they don't see it. They don't see why they need to keep going back to the star that is Brock Lesnar. He's not doing anything. He's not doing anything with the title. He's not making the title important. You're taking the title away from the shows. We're back in the same fucking position. It's like WWE in an abusive relationship. You keep going back. And you know what the outcome is going to be. You're going to be unhappy, and the quality of everything is just going to be piss poor. That's exactly what they do with Lesnar. Now, Meltzer says this: Brock's next match will be on the Royal Rumble show. We haven't been told outright it is a WWE title match, but the other option is the Rumble, and WWE hasn't put the champ in the Rumble in years. Plus, it makes no sense with the Rumble being for the Mania title shot. I don't want Lesnar in the Royal Rumble. I don't. Because then that's going to give WWE fuel if Cain Velasquez, which I reported from Meltzer, that he's going to be in the Royal Rumble. That's all we need for WWE to say, well, now Cain Velasquez deserves a WWE title shot. He eliminated Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble. Please, I would rather just be fucking away from that nightmarish situation. I really would. That's not what I want to see happen, because WWE is going to do something stupid like that. And that's how we're getting WWE title shots now, by the title and the champion being in the Royal Rumble, and then whoever eliminates the champion is their way in for a WrestleMania fucking match. That would be fucking god-awful. Absolutely god-awful. Meltzer also reported that Brock Lesnar would not be defending the WWE Championship against either Cain Velasquez or Tyson Fury at WrestleMania 36, so that's where that report came from. Reports that previously suggested that both matches were being considered. Thank Christ. Hopefully his report here is legitimate. Now, Kevin Owens, again, he brought up Kevin Owens. I don't think that's the right choice here. Randy Orton, I could see that. Randy Orton is one of those types of guys where you can fit into that type of role, and it's not going to damage him in any way if he loses to Brock Lesnar. So that's the safe bet right there if you need someone for Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. And it doesn't have to be a title match. It doesn't have to be a title match. Because nobody on that show, like I said, has done anything to warrant a title shot. So if Lesnar is set to appear at the Royal Rumble in a non-title match, it is possible that WWE could put on a special attraction match between him and Randy Orton, or him and Velasquez, if they want to do that. Well, which I don't want to see, period. I don't want to see it in the Rumble or one-on-one again. I don't want to see it. So I don't know. At this point, I'd rather Lesnar just be off the fucking show if you got no solid, concrete plans that make sense for Brock Lesnar. Now, with this, we're talking about Lesnar. Let's talk about him and WrestleMania. Now, I don't know where they go with Lesnar into WrestleMania. I really don't. The idea with all of these Lesnar plans is that it could be Velasquez, it could be Tyson Fury. Those plans were squashed. It could be Randy Orton, Kevin Owens. I said I'd rather see Randy Orton at the Rumble if you need Lesnar to be there. So who does Lesnar get at WrestleMania? Who does Lesnar get at WrestleMania? There is 3 choices in the back of my mind right now. There's 3 choices. 1, let's take the obvious choice on Monday Night Raw. If there is one guy on Monday Night Raw that I want to see go one-on-one with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship, it is the match that we should have got, not this past Royal Rumble, not this past Survivor Series, but the Survivor Series before that. Remember when Daniel Bryan beat AJ Styles for the WWE Championship? We were going to get AJ Styles vs. Brock Lesnar 2 at Survivor Series, but Daniel Bryan beat AJ Styles, and we got Bryan versus Brock, which was fucking phenomenal. How about AJ Styles, if WWE wants to do something with the Royal Rumble and Roman Reigns, which God forbid happens, and then we get the Elimination Chamber. Coming out of the Chamber for Monday Night Raw, getting the title shot against Brock Lesnar should be AJ Styles. AJ versus Brock 2 at WrestleMania is something that I would stamp my name to. I think that's something that a lot of people would like to see. Now, to really create new stars, and you guys know where I'm going with this, fuck Roman Reigns, fuck The Fiend. Nobody wants to see that match. That match leads to one conclusion, and one conclusion only, and that's Roman Reigns getting booed again in Tampa by beating somebody who's the most over guy in the entire company. It's going to backfire for WWE. Nobody wants to see Reigns as champion. He's not the chosen one, especially if you're taking the title off The Fiend to put it on Roman Reigns. It's not the way to go. WWE, in an effort to make all of this Brock Lesnar holding the title again, for whatever fucking reason they did it, they had no plan when they took the title off of Lesnar. The only reason that they took the title off of Kofi and put it on Lesnar was to appease the Fox executives, because they're a bunch of fucking idiots too. The only way to make sense of this, and we've talked about this in previous years, but if the reports are true, and NXT has a major presence at the Royal Rumble, and we're doing 10 from Raw, 10 from SmackDown, and 10 from NXT in the Royal Rumble, an NXT superstar needs to win the Royal Rumble. That's what needs to happen. You want to push your agenda with NXT in the Wednesday Night Wars? This is another way to do that. And there's only 2 guys that I want in that Royal Rumble as potential NXT winners. It's Matt Riddle, and that's Keith Lee. That's it. And if I'm to choose one or the other, I'm going with Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle is doing a bunch of nothing in NXT. Matt Riddle is, and has been, ready for the main roster. You put him in the Royal Rumble and you have him win. the Royal Rumble, and you have him show up on Monday Night Raw the night after the Royal Rumble, and you have him outright challenge Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship, and you have that match booked already, and you develop 2.5 months of hype between Matt Riddle and Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship, and you build that match as Matt Riddle's coming out party, and you have him go into Tampa, and you have him beat Brock Lesnar, and you have him win the WWE Championship. There's no reason why you put the title on Brock Lesnar for a Cain Velasquez or a fucking Kevin Owens or a fucking whoever else, fucking Tyson Fury, whatever. Or God forbid another Seth Rollins match. Matt Riddle, create new stars. There has to be a reason why this man is a WWE champion outside of it makes Fox executives happy. He's not on Fox anymore. He's on Raw. Now it's time to take the title off of him. And if you're going to take the title off of him, you better fucking create a new star that will be looked at by the fans as, holy shit, he beat Brock Lesnar. I can get behind this guy. You want to make the guy's entire fucking life? Then that's what you do. Keith Lee's the other guy. He's another believable guy I could see go one-on-one with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania for the WWE title. Because we all heard the rumors coming out of Survivor Series. Vince loves Keith Lee. We'll see what happens. If there's 1 year where NXT wins the Royal Rumble, 2020 is the year. I would much rather see that than their fucking Roman Reigns plan. Now, Roman Reigns, the idea behind Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt, which right now is the leading candidate for the main event of WrestleMania. So that will be 5 WrestleMania main events that this fucking clown main events. And Bray Wyatt going into another WrestleMania where he should win and avenge the fucking one WrestleMania that ruined his fucking career at WrestleMania 30. He's going to go into this and The Fiend will be dead. Just like Bray Wyatt died against John Cena at 30, 6 years later, The Fiend dies against Roman Reigns. The idea behind this match and the idea behind Roman Reigns being kept away from the main event is they're cooling him off. They think that this reverse psychology is working. That the negative reactions the fans were giving him are not going to be anymore because he took time away last year and they haven't positioned him as that guy all through 2019. But yet you want to position him against the one guy that is number one seller on WWE Shop, the one guy that everybody wants to emulate, the one guy that everybody is fucking thinking is the most coolest character in all of pro wrestling, the one guy that is the most over guy in your entire company. You want to put him against, and you want to have this come out in the way you're thinking. You have to be. How stupid could these people be? They think that this cooling off is going to negate all the negative reactions. Now, Reigns and his name obviously is being brought up because there's nobody else on SmackDown to feud with Bray Wyatt for the Universal Championship after he gets done with Daniel Bryan. The WrestleMania lineup usually leaks around this time, but they're taking baby steps and they're taking big steps to keep the leaks from getting out this year. They want everything to be a genuine surprise. Dave Meltzer discussed this on Wrestling Observer Live. He says, and I quote, "We're in December, and usually right now, you kind of know the WrestleMania card. WWE, for the last couple of years, hasn't made WrestleMania feel like WrestleMania, and I don't even think they know what the fucking card is still going into January. They don't even know what's happening on Raw Monday, let alone fucking WrestleMania. I know a little bit, but I don't know much. I know what's going to happen. I know what's not going to happen, but I don't know with the entire card where their direction is going. The Fiend and Roman Reigns, there's been not a hint or anything in that direction, but that match wouldn't shock me at all." End quote. Now, a source in WWE revealed about Wyatt versus Reigns and said that this is the leading candidate for the main event on the SmackDown side of things, and the goal is to get Reigns back into the slot of being the top face in the entire company. According to other sources, WWE officials decided to purposely cool off Reigns. Although their intention is to have him as the top face in the company, they didn't want the push to Reigns to go too hard. Over feuds, the crowd would eventually turn on him again. This report also states, so that's 3 reports that also state that the plan for Roman is to be the Fiend's opponent at WrestleMania 36, establishing Reigns as the WWE's top babyface once again. I don't really want to see this. It's not going to work. I told you on SmackDown, I'm JD Namas. I'm Nostradamus, motherfucker. It's not going to happen. When Reigns gets booed, you'll know who's been saying it for months. I can't wait to see it blow up in their face. Matt Riddle or an NXT superstar, Matt Riddle or Keith Lee or someone like that should win the Royal Rumble. They go on to WrestleMania and they take down Brock Lesnar in the fucking main event. Fuck a Roman Reigns. Fuck Baron Corbin being eliminated by Roman Reigns in the Royal Rumble. Now, I know I put that out there in the fucking universe and it's probably going to happen. We don't want to see that. Dog food and all. I don't want to see it. Nobody wants to see it. Matt Riddle wins the Royal Rumble. He goes on to fight Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. He addresses that situation the night after the Rumble on Raw. And then what you do with SmackDown, I don't give a fuck. You want to do Reigns and Wyatt? Go ahead. All I know is going to blow up in your face. The Fiend should not lose. Every match, Bryan Alvarez said, every match The Fiend has had could be labeled as the worst match of the year. Has this guy done anything in his reign to really warrant a true look back at being a great Universal Champion? The answer is no. The answer is no. That means I'm not against The Fiend. Or that doesn't mean I'm not against The Fiend. I am very solely with The Fiend. I like The Fiend character. I just don't think that it really has done anything as far as making an impact on WWE TV. Clearly it hasn't. Nobody's watching for The Fiend. Nobody wants to see The Fiend versus Roman Reigns. If anything, I would rather see Daniel Bryan take the fucking title off The Fiend at the Royal Rumble, being how over he is now in another babyface role. I don't know, man. Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle's the guy. If it ain't Matt Riddle, you're doing it all wrong. Guys, I'm getting out of here. This is the final off the script of the entire year. And I'll see you guys right back here on Monday with Monday Night Raw. If you missed part 1, link will be down below in the description. Go and check it out. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Hit that thumbs up. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Check out the sponsors. Harrys.com/script. Audibletrial.com/off-the-script. And I will see you guys right back here on Monday Night Raw. We got the wedding of Lana and Rusev. Oh joy, oh joy. What am I getting them? I'm getting them a fucking pickup of the remote control and changing the channel to see what Triple D and Guy Fieri are doing. That's what my fucking gift to Lana and Rusev, or Lana and Lashley, I should say, is going to be for Monday Night Raw. Guys, thank you so very much. Again, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you right back here, unfortunately, for the cringe-like wedding of Lana and Rusev. Or Lana and Lashley, with Rusev, I'm sure, blowing up the whole joint on Raw. See you guys then. You can see how much I give a shit about the fucking storyline by me botching who's involved.